Hello.
Hey, hello there.
How you
How are
going?
you?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself? Pleasure to have you
Thank you. I'm good. Nice to be here.
here.
Or I prefer being in Australia right now because you got summer, right?
Yeah,
Starting up. Yeah.
yeah. And when I'm saying starting up, I think today was 37 degrees where I live. I went outside and went,
Wow.
oh, maybe I'll go back inside and put the shorts on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here is the land of Narnia. It's like gray rain and just cold, airy vibe to it.
No, it's a little bit different, just a little bit different. You were down here not too long ago as well. How did you enjoy your last visit down to Australia?
I love it. It's one of those you have to pinch your arms, even
Mhm.
though I've been there a couple of times. But last year we started up in New Zealand,
Yeah.
which was adventurous and very beautiful, um, with the New Zealand band.
Oh,
Quite big band.
oh,
What's the name? Sorry for this, for not
no,
to
no,
remember.
that's okay. There was it the one you guys were playing with on the Lagerfest tour as
Yes,
well?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Devil Skin. Or,
Thank you so much.
yes.
Thank you so much. Very nice people, and everyone was is super nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love Australia.
I think it's hard with the amount of sunshine and everything we've got down here to be angry. So we just try to lay back as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True, true. And this may sound a little bit, I don't know, but I always feel it's a little bit a, an English vibe to it. You
Mm.
know, it's a bit laid back, but it's in a kind of a UK vibe mentality. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
Oh, look, well,
busting
you,
it
you
out.
know, we're all founded by convicts that came over from England. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
that, we can't get that out of our roots. So it's
No, no,
just kind of like,
exactly.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Fancy a cup of tea.
Not too
Yeah.
much, yeah, not too far off at all, not too far off at all. But while we're on the subject of Australia, how was it playing something like a Froth and Fury festival in South Australia as opposed to playing when you started that tour, a Vacan, literally all the way on the other side of the planet? Like, how was that whole experience?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, all this stuff, Halo Effect have moved so fast.
Hmm.
One album and it's up the charts, Grammy nominations, playing the biggest festivals, traveling the world, be at your place, Australia, New Zealand. And so sometimes you need to come home and just think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And the first album and the whole touring cycle was a trip, a very positive one, very funny one, because I at least didn't think in those terms that we were gonna do this. Everything was a bonus to me. I mean, I remember waking up from tons of messages when we released the first single, Shadow Minds, and video. I didn't. Okay, let's put it out. I thought, and then,
Yeah.
whoa, what's happening? And people were raving about, oh, it's you all playing together, and you did. All right, but so I've been kind of laid back with the whole thing, and I
Yeah.
think for me it's been healthy to stay grounded.
Mm. Because it did blow up really kind of quickly. Like, yeah, you speak Days of Lost coming out, and it's one of those things that you started touring just like 2 weeks before the album was released. So most people had only heard 4 songs before committing to go see you guys at a lot of these live shows as well, which is unreal. It just kind of really shows the power that when you guys came out, you had that classic kind of like Gothenburg sound, but it also sounded new at the same time. In a way, how'd you kind of balance that, keeping that sound, but also being innovative with that sound at the same time? Because a lot of people have tried that and failed, where, I don't know, it's just the halo effect seems to kind of nail it on the head.
I mean, yeah, but the question you asked started up with all the. We actually started the whole touring cycle in June that year at Sweden Rock,
Yeah.
and we got offered to play the main stage, and it's 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn, the album is just 42 minutes. What do we do, Mike? You need to read a poem or what? So I choose to do a intro and an outro for the whole show and put it together.
Mm.
And by that time, we have only released 3 singles.
Yeah.
So we were forced to play the whole album front to back on our very first show ever. That was a challenge thrown at us.
Yeah.
So but really, really cool experience. I just remember going in, playing, and then I remember waking up kind of thing, and we were hugging each other on stage. What happened? Oh, the gig is done? Wow, there's a lot of people here, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of thing to it. So, I mean, for us, this kind of music comes quite natural, I have to say. We don't have to overthink stuff because we've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
And I think the key is just to stay true to ourselves and what we come from.
Yeah.
And use that as a power in itself. And just go for it.
Yeah, I guess at the same time too, because you were a brand new band, like you guys have all known each other for years as well, though, but a brand new band where there was no expectations when you're writing this album. There was no, you know, some bands who have been doing this for a long time might be like, oh, we need to kind of write something like this because this is what the fans are expecting or this is what the record label wants. With you guys, it was a brand new project. So I guess, and this is just me assuming, that things kind of went untouched and you got to do it your own way. Am I right in saying that as well?
Yeah, you can say that, because when we met up and had the first meeting, if we wanted to do this or not, we had this, what kind of music should we play? You know, it wasn't obvious that we're going to keep to what we just started. I mean, we have a very diverse taste in music and people are all over the place, you know?
Yeah.
So we started out with the first song was Gateways, and that kind of paved the way. And after that, I wrote Shattered Minds and then Feel What I Believe.
Yeah.
And that kind of, all right, let's just stick to it and just go for it. Because, as I said previously, we have done this for so long, and this is what we know and can play properly. Because we suck. So that came natural to us, and we didn't force anything. I think that's important. If it feels forced, or you can kind of sense it when you hear it.
No, and you're right. And it's one of those things as well, because you put out the first album and then you started releasing what are now the bonus tracks on the second album that's coming out kind of over the last 24 months as well. So I'm assuming a lot of writing happened in that first session. Like for this second album, how much has been new songs or how much were written back when you were doing the first album, Days of the Lost?
Nothing. Brand new.
There we go.
So, I mean, we did put out 2 in-between singles. Those were I added 1 song to that. But, I mean, we write all the time. I feel it's so inspiring, and I think it's really fun. So the whole writing process for this album began maybe 1.5, 2 months before the first ever show at Sweden Rock. Because I had to do the intro, I had to do the outro. And the intro was the start, and we did that for 96 shows in a row, and people seemed to like it a lot, and they were cheering and sing along to the melody.
Yeah.
Then I thought, why not make a song out of the intro? Keep the intro, spice it up a little bit more, and then make a song that became March of the Unheard.
Oh, there we go.
And then the outro, I had that acoustic theme, and I thought, why don't we do a medley of some of the cool melodies in the album and put it together in a nicely way with a cello and a violin and soaring female vocals. And Michael, of course.
Yeah.
And then put these melodies together and make it instrumental. That could be the ending of the album as a breather, as how's the third album gonna sound? You never know, because we leave that open with that coda instrumental song.
No, and I do like that as well. And I do like it when albums put an instrumental at the end because it's almost like when you've gone out for dinner and you get like an after dinner mint just to cleanse your
Yeah,
palate. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like you've had your
yeah.
meal, cleanse the palate, and you're kind of ready to go on for the rest of your day, night, whatever it is. And I think that's really cool that you've done that on this one. And speaking of like the new album as well, I've had the chance to give it a listen, and I got to say, there's some pretty cool stuff you've done on this. Between Directions in particular, I thought was quite different to what you guys had done on the previous album and even half of the new album with the I want to say the string arrangements you've got some real quiet parts in that as well, but it's got a very powerful, almost driving rhythm to it as well. Like doing that kind of thing, is that just something you've always wanted to do as a writer, or is because it does feel very new at the same time, but yet familiar at the same time?
I think, I mean, all these things comes natural,
Yeah.
at least to me and Jeppe. So I when I did that song, the intro, da 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 da, I thought of something epic,
Yeah.
like Rainbow Rising. You know the album, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rainbow Rising, Stargazer.
Yeah. Of course.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Epic grand, but in a death metal way, in an entombed way.
Mm.
Da 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 da. Bam. And then, as I wrote the song, I felt like we need to spice it up. It would be cool to have cello and violin, to broaden up a bit, to feel more epic, more rainbow to it.
Yeah.
And so we did. And then Michael, who is the master of vocals and all things lyrics, chose to put clean vocals on the chorus, which just he's very keen and very picky how to sing his parts. So, but I think it turned out really cool, and it's as you said, you are reacting when the song starts.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a good thing that you mentioned Michael's vocals as well, because in, I guess, the Halo Effect compared to Dark Tranquility, there is a lot less clean vocals. So when they do come through and he is singing, I don't know, it feels a bit more impactful to me because, the last album, I think it was the only two, maybe three of the songs had clean vocals. On this album so far, you've only got a handful as well. So when it comes through, it kind of really delivers a message, because sometimes when you're listening to the Halo Effect and you hear Michael's voice, because he's got such that classic sound to his voice, and then when he sings, you forget how beautiful of a singer he actually is, and I think it adds a lot to the music at the end of the day as well. So it always takes me by surprise when it comes in, but I always love it. And speaking of writing this album, because you did say most of it was new, did you guys approach it any differently at all after touring? Because you kind of knew what the fans liked about you guys now, or was it just the same? We're all friends. We're going to stick to what we know. We're going to do it this way. Or did touring life as the Halo Effect impact you at all? I mean, I'm sure it's had a big impact on your life as it is anyway.
No, I think the songwriting process was the same.
Yeah.
I rely a lot on energies. I love energies. I love the power it can bring, the energy, the force where you feel something and you no.
Yeah.
A little bit like that, soccer, ice hockey, That's what I really love, writing music like that under those circumstances. Coffee, snooze, and you play the guitar, and then you just go for it. And then Jeppe on board and the rest of the guys. So it was the same formula.
Yeah.
But you're right, of course. A tour, festival season, that makes sense to us as a band, because we have played together for so many years and we know each other for so long, but that doesn't mean that it comes naturally into starting a new band like the Halo. Oh, it's a new band. It's a new feel. It's a new mindset.
Yeah.
It's kind of the old, but in a new way. So that was so cool when we wrote the first album. It just, we let ourselves be ourselves, and we stayed that way.
Yeah.
And then add 96 shows to that. Something will happen, of course. And I think you can say that this album has more confidence than the first album in that way. And I hate the word mature. Yeah, I'm an old vampire, but yeah, it feels a little bit much. We kind of more confidence, found a little bit more stuff to grab onto.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that you use the word mature because that's not. Yeah, and I do know that, and I have. You listen to some bands, or you listen to some bands, and they can definitely have that matured sound. But I don't know. I feel like you guys are getting younger. It almost kind of feels like you guys are this fresh new band. You're in your mid to late 20s, and you're coming out here just playing the metal you want to play, and it's just kick ass. The live shows are fantastic as well. So I don't know. I don't know if it's mature. I feel that just maybe the energy's there, and maybe the energy is translating through in the sound.
I think so, and I
Yeah,
like energy,
yeah,
positive energy, of course.
yeah. That's it. That's it. And speaking of playing all these live shows and festivals, because like you said, you started with the festivals. What do you prefer? You've been doing this for a long time now. Are you a festival guy? Do you like doing the festival, or do you prefer doing these smaller, more like intimate club shows compared, or do you kind of like something about one and like something about the other? I'm always curious with that because everyone always has a different answer.
I, I I love both.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, in this kind of genre, in this style of music,
Hmm.
you have Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time behind you. It's a
Yes.
wonderful album. I went to that tour in the 80s. I think Wasp was opening up.
Oh wow.
Yes, I'm old. Uh, but Iron Maiden is a great example
Hmm.
because they're having so much fun on stage, you can tell. And Steve Harris, being a big football fan, soccer fan, West Ham, he is playing a football on stage. He's got to show himself with the bass, you know. I'm
Yeah.
here, have the ball, I'm here. Kind of that mindset. He's bringing the football on stage. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, that was a side note with the Iron Maiden. But I feel that, no, yes, what I was coming to was that I think it's so important in this kind of music, what we're bringing out on stage,
Yeah.
get that back from the audience,
Mm.
and we meet together like that, then explosive power of energies in the room or
Yeah.
in the festival site or in an arena. You need to have those ingredients. If the
Yeah.
band is like, oh, then the audience feel it. Yeah, that sounded good, but they didn't want to be on stage. Or, damn, that was a good gig because audience and band got together
Yeah.
and made it a great evening. I think that's important.
Yeah, and you're right saying that as well, because I have been, and I won't name the bands, but I have definitely been to shows where you could tell there's people up on that stage that don't want to be there. And you can almost feel the negative energy coming off that to the point of
Yeah,
like, well, how am I meant to get into it when you're not even believing what you're doing? So I think a big,
exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you, not to be cheeky, but you got to feel what I believe. I think that's a really good kind of message to be out there because
yeah,
yeah, that whole song being you like, I only see me now where we've come, what we're doing. This is the life I'm leading because it's not a life everyone gets to lead. You're in an interesting profession that a lot of people want to do, but not a lot of people get to do. So you would have had some experiences throughout your time. And I like to ask a lot of people this: is there anything over the years with touring, whether it be with the Halo Effect or In Flames back in the day, or any of your other bands, where you've had an interaction with a fan that's stuck with you throughout your life, whether that be positive or negative? Is there anything that comes to mind when I mention what's an interesting fan interaction you've had?
wow. Um, I had to say that in this genre, music style, people love it. They are devoted. They're in it for life and a big heart.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the same kind of supporters in pop culture or hip hop, or I'm not sure. People
Yeah.
are very, very, very kind and showing respect, which I really like.
Yeah.
And um, I feel comfortable meeting the supporters, and some of them have become friends
Yeah.
to me, and we talk from time to time. Where um, and I just love that with this my kind of music. I mean, we're going out on tour in January, February. We're doing Europe,
Yep.
UK, Scandinavia, and all over the place. And I know, yeah, I'm gonna meet that person. I'm gonna meet them, and we're gonna go for dinner there, and blah, blah,
Yeah.
just catch up and hang out. I think that's wonderful. So,
Yeah. No, you're right. No, you can keep going. Oh.
so I mean that that for me brings joy to that, and
Yeah.
and to see what our music are doing to people, how we can hit them with our music and how they feel, and they feel positive, happy, because it's those energies we are playing. And it's a sensitive question, and I'm so blessed to be able to do this and humbled for that.
Because it is, and like you mentioned, and nothing against pop music and that, because all different genres of music have to exist, because everyone, one hat doesn't fit all. But I do feel, because metal music and metal fans, it feels like more of a lifestyle. Like you look at, yourself, you've got the neck tattoos, the long hair, I've got the big beard, the tattoos and everything. I look like I listen to metal. A lot of people who listen to metal engulf it as a lifestyle, not just as something I listen to on the way to work. Or I think that's what a lot of pop music is. Like I said, nothing wrong with that, because you do need that sometimes. Just easy songs for people to listen to, and then in 3 years' time, people forget that song ever existed. I don't think, and that's the thing I guess a lot of pop stars probably lose, is when they're putting out an album, you're not going to have someone like me who was like, oh, In Broken Trust is my favorite song. That was like one of the last singles off the first album. It was, and, Gateways wasn't even released as a single. Fantastic song. People don't listen to these albums, but when you're releasing an album like you guys are, and you guys got the new one coming out 10th of January, very excited. You do listen to the thing the whole way through, because it feels like a journey, because you've poured the love into it. You're not going, oh, well, this is the radio song, this is the radio song, this is the radio song. You're going, this is what I want to get out. This is my heart and soul for everyone to listen to, and I just hope they like it at the end of the day. At least that's what I get. I feel there's a lot of passion that comes out whenever I listen to a brand new Halo Effects song. I think you guys have crafted it really well, and you do really good music videos. Although Michael's head exploding in Detonate, I was not expecting at the end of that video. So nice little touch on that one.
Yeah. Thank you so much for those kind words. No, I agree with you. It's this music is. If you're into metal, you're into metal. That's it, and you stick with that. Then it's a lifestyle, and to many people, it brings joy and happiness, and it should be like that with music. And of course, if someone want to talk to me about my music, I gladly do so over a cup of coffee and just hang out and for laughs,
Yeah.
Because we are the same. It doesn't matter if I'm up on stage. I'm still a heavy metal fan.
Yeah.
I still love Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and all that stuff. And we can talk about Somewhere in Time for hours, you and I, and about the iconic cover art and Heaven Can Wait song, and
and I'm glad, as me, as someone who was born in the late 80s, I definitely didn't get to see that tour. So to see them come out at their age now and still put on a fantastic show, because they just toured Australia recently, actually. So I got to see that whole, the Days of Future Past tour, and to, hear Heaven Can Wait, Caught Somewhere in Time, Stranger in a Strange Land, songs I never thought I'd get to hear. There's just something, there's something special about it at the end of the day, isn't there?
It is.
Yeah. And I guess that leads to a lot of your stuff with the Obey the Riff. How did that all come together? You've been kind of living by that motto for the longest time as well.
Yeah. It's a fun one. Yeah. I have some cool stuff on the way with that one. But I think, when you think of it, you and I are talking. You, Australia. I'm born in Gothenburg, Sweden. So we are talking about the halo effect.
Yeah.
But as I said a minute ago, we could easily talk about Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden. Yeah. And we can have a conversation. Which is your favorite album? And that's hard one to pick. I would go for Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus Today with Candlemass, and I will talk about that.
Yeah.
When I first heard, I heard Leif Edling, the band leader, in an interview on Swedish radio back in '87 or something like that. Because at that time we only had 1 hour a week on Swedish radio to listen to metal.
Oh.
And that guy who brought it all together was called, his name is Anders Tegnér. And light years later, he did an interview with me. And I was starstruck. I was like, no, let's turn it around. I'm going to interview you. So it ended up me interviewing him.
Yeah.
He was so still passionate about music in general, heavy metal.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that, your favorite album. And then when you talk about favorite album, then you remember, I was at my grandma's place and we were having fun. My mom and dad came by and blah, blah, blah. You have memories to that.
Yeah.
And I heard that song on the radio. It just stuck you like that.
Yeah.
That's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You got hit by lightning and you're doing interview with me here. There's a reason for that, because, wow, I love this.
Yeah.
Obey the riff is a lifestyle. Oh, because riff is the fucking best there is. It doesn't matter if it's Depeche Mode or Iron Maiden. Yeah. It's still a riff going on. And have you heard this? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm actually getting goosebumps the way you're describing that at the same time, because I'm just picturing all the live shows I've seen in my head as well. And there's nothing like it. Like, it is truly something that's so magical. And you're right. If there wasn't, bands like Iron Maiden as well, maybe I wouldn't have gotten into what I'm doing now and interviewing bands all over the world. And I feel blessed to be able to speak to someone like you, and you're all the way over there in Sweden, different time of day, like completely like. That's a wonderful thing, I guess, about the internet at the same time. Yeah, social media can kind of be horrible in some aspects, but in some aspects, you can kind of reach the rest of the world. Like, for bands to come down to Australia for the longest time to tour, that just didn't happen because we weren't getting what was coming out of Europe down here. It was a lot of, if they weren't Iron Maiden from the UK, it was just American bands. And for the longest time, just no one toured down here. Now we can't stop you guys from coming down here, which is great. It's a great problem to have, but it's just fantastic. It's good to see the whole world kind of open up and embrace everything. I mean, Lagerfest was a good example. I know you guys played with you had Lagerstein, Beyond the Black, Devilskin. Those four bands couldn't sound different, like more different to each other, but they all kind of fit on that bill at the same time. And it kind of felt like not just a show, but a party. It was a magical experience. It was one I was happy to be a part of as well.
It was definitely.
I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you've got other interviews going on today, so I do want to ask you one last thing before I let you go. New album is coming out. I'm very excited for it. I'm sure a new single is going to be dropping probably before the end of the year, so very excited to see what you've got there going on there. But is there anything you want to say to the fans watching, and especially the Australian fans watching who might have missed the Halo effect once they last came down here, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you make your way down here again?
Whoa. First of all, I love your beautiful country, Australia. I can't get enough of it. And the beautiful supporters, always having a good time, and you're very welcoming people. So I can't wait to come back, bring Halo over, and let's do it again. Let's have fun.
Let's do it again.
Energies.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Hey, it has been an absolute pleasure. I hope you have the best day. Thank you once again. Cannot wait. January 10th, the new album is out. I will leave a link if you want to pre-order that below or save it on Spotify. But, mate, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.